Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League support reportedly scaled back at Rocksteady following disastrous launch. Uh, I'm going to do the original story, then the update. What now for Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League? The live service shooter flopped to the tune of $200 million upon its launch earlier this year, and ever since players have wondered just how long support would last. Following a Bloomberg report into the development of the game, the author of that report, Jason Schreier, has tweeted to say Rocksteady is now providing some bare bones support, definitely not as much as they'd originally planned. That's a worry for Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League's small but loyal fan base. Yeah, all five of them, which is made up of fans who continue to play the game despite its failings, and calls into question how long publisher Warner Brothers will have Rocksteady devote resources to the game. According to Bloomberg, staff at the studio are currently working on a director's cut of the phenomenally successful Hogwarts Legacy, while leadership pitches a return to single player following this live service misstep. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League did look to set to receive a new content. The game recently released introduction of Mrs. Freeze as a playable character for Season 2, in the short term at least, but Rocksteady has yet to announce Season 2 or what it will add to the game. Season 1 added Joker as a playable character. Data mining has suggested playable characters on their way include Mrs. Freeze, Lawless, and Deathstroke. But will Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League actually get these playable characters, or even subsequent seasons? The game's community, such as it is, has declared the game dead following Bloomberg's report. I honestly don't think the planned Season 2 to 4 are happening, Redditor Gizmo16868 said. Those in the game's official Discord have already turned their attention to Rocksteady's next game, and the hope it will rekindle the excitement around the studio's much-loved Batman Arkham series. For now, though, it seems a question of when, not if, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League goes the way of so many live service failures and its developer officially moves on. Now I'll read the update to the article. Update. Warner Brothers has told IGN that Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League will complete its currently announced roadmap. For more on what that means for the game, check out our latest article. So let's see. Comments. Mega Man 1877 goes, seeing these games crash and burn means the industry is healing, and no amount of insane screaming into the air that these so-called devs, really activists, did recently is going to help them. You stirred the hornet's nest far too much, and we, the actual playing gamers, are fed up with all modern audiences. Um, audiences nonsense. We just want great, enjoyable escapism entertainment back, not this slop with pandering forced messages everywhere. Spicy Michael goes, it's officially absurd to conflate this game's failure with your inflammatory and diversity conspiracies. Could just as well argue that this game failed because of shoestrings, and it's evidence that boots are finally going to make a comeback. And Mark with the mouth goes, we are probably in for another industry crash like back in '83, which you've also suggested could happen. Um, so what do you? So it looks like Mrs. Freeze is definitely coming. I don't know if Deathstroke or Lawless will also come to Suicide Squad. I'm not sure too many people care. But what do you think about this whole situation?
Well, whether Rocksteady and their game made the disastrous all Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League has been bad or not, it's done to roll out the monthly or the monthly editions, or they call them, for the game itself, in order to be complete. For example, the last boss of every boss for the last two bosses now, it was like a manifestation of like the superheroes or the supervillains with the with that monster and taking over their bodies and all each of them. So if you got to do it with Mrs. Freeze and then later on other characters for another 4 or 5 more times, they have to do it. Otherwise, it's just gonna be a complete mess, and people's going to drop out of the play the game altogether. So
Yeah, but this is what they said is basically these were going to be new playable characters, not enemies. Um,
okay,
but
okay.
like they said, Joker went over like a fart in church. I guess. Um, so Yeah, I mean, like I said, Mrs. Freeze might show up since she was the uh, um, next one announced, but we don't know. And if Deathstroke and Lawless were just rumors um, from people who mine data in the game and found out, and who basically hacked the game and found out, and they were in the game. Their files have just not been released yet. But yeah, like I said, this basically this like I said, winning. You know, uh, we don't
Winning.
we don't want this slop with pandering messages, um, and we don't want we don't want games for these activists. Put these activists back on the unemployment line. Um,
Or make them
so
wash dishes.
yeah, they can wash dishes, pick roadkill off the side of the road. There's jobs they can do. Um,
Yeah, just do it. Otherwise, this country's gonna fall literally down.
yeah. So yeah, and you know what? Sweet Baby Inc. Can also uh, start their new career as cleaning the sides of highways and stuff. Um, Maybe they can change their name to Highway Cleaners. Um,
Oh yeah, sweet highway cleaners.
yeah. So again, like I said, yeah, people don't want these games. But I do want to bring up something that the third person said. Sounds like a video game crash in '83 could be coming back. No, 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 because you've also mentioned that. You've also said that you think that could happen.
Hmm.
I remember talking to you about that multiple times, and I do think if we do have a video game crash, it's mainly going to be just the AAA publishers like like WB and Take Two, and like Ubisoft and other people that other companies that have gotten too big for their britches, even though they're
Yeah.
AAA companies.
Oh yeah.
What do you think?
A possible game crash. It's plausible, possible too. If they keep this up with all the political correctness in games and selling games overpriced and all, it will create this a backlog or this pile up, you want to call it. So it may not be the exact factors that happened back in 1983 with that crash, but it's going to be a similar rhythm to it. So to keep this up over and over, like the Kill Justice League and Anthem and Watch Dogs, even because Watch Dogs is supposed to be all this, razzle dazzle graphical, game and all, but it was for the Xbox One, so actually it wasn't all that great. So it's stuff like that. And that's what since 2014, 2015 has been going on. So
Right.
it's
Well,
you know
I liked Watch Dogs. So I mean, the first
it's
one.
okay to play. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
It's okay to play the game Watch Dogs. It's just that the graphics of it's supposed to be all out, endearing and very shocking awe.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you wanted great graphics, play Watch Dogs 2. Watch Dogs 1 came out early in the Xbox One's life cycle, so
Okay.
um, you also got to keep in mind when the console is like in its first year or two of the life cycle, most game developers don't know, how to max out the graphic capabilities yet,
Okay.
whatever they could be. So, but like I said, video game crash, yeah, there might be one coming. But I don't think the independent developers are going to be affected. As a matter of fact, it might drive down some of these AAA companies and let independent companies rise up to take place of those AAA companies that had destroyed gamers' trust one too many times. That's what I think will happen if there is another video game crash. It's just going to affect the AAA developers um, negatively.
Hmm.